Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang gabi sa inyo dito sa Amerika, United States of America. It's Friday, September 15, 2023. My name is Josie Moralidad Zayman from the Filipino-American Cancer Care. Wala kami dito. Pag wala, if we don't have our station manager, gwapong-gwapo, nag-iisa lang yan. But you can't see him in person, behind the camera, in Las Vegas. Thank you so much to our station manager, Johan. Ayan ha, binati kita. And of course, gusto ko munang batiin ng happy birthday yung aking husband, Barry Zayman. And of course, my mom, happy birthday, Marietta Moralidad. And syempre, lahat ng mga birthday celebrants. And syempre no, good morning sa inyo dyan sa Pilipinas. Sa ang sulok ng Pilipinas, kami po ay nandito at nagbibigay ng serbisyo publiko. Aba, parang politiko. Now, we would like to welcome back yung aking radio host. Ay, radio host pala. And one of the board of directors ng Filipino-American Cancer Care. Gwapong-gwapo! Modelo. Hindi pilosopo. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of Maryland, Emerich Richie Vicente Machete. Welcome back.
Well, thank you so much for that very, very nice introduction.
Aba, para
Um,
kang sumasali sa beauty contest.
I know, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat sa Pilipinas. Um, Ganito, lagi kaming masaya and we're always, wait a minute. Happy birthday, Kuya Barry. Oh my God.
That's
And
right.
Mami Marietta, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, happy birthday. Continue.
Yes. Kailan bang birthday mo, Emerich?
May 29.
Oh, May
May
29.
29.
Ako malapit na. Ilang
The
beses ba
infamous.
ako mag-birthday sa isang taon?
I think 4 times.
Kaya nga eh. At saka magbe-birthday talaga ako next year kasi
Oh
tapos
my
na yung
God.
aking treatment sa cancer. Di ba?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, yes. Now, before we introduce our special guest tonight, gwapong-gwapo din to. Oh my God. I
know.
heard, Emerich, he is one of the youngest professors. At a very young age,
Yeah.
huh? He became a professor in America. My gosh, ako pa nga eh. Talagang, you know, the more that I get older, my accent is thicker. It gets thicker. Thicker.
Thicker and thicker.
Thicker and thicker.
Thicker.
Ah, di ba? And that's my identity, Emerich, because when I speak in Tagalog, I sound in Emerich, pasensya ka na. I'm very machika ngayon. That's the effect of the food tasting in Marriott Hotel in Falls Church, Virginia.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because for October 28, we would like to give you the best food, the best dinner, and the best show. For 150, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to help cancer patients in the Philippines, in the United States, and other parts of the world. Those who are listening to us right now, if you know anybody who has cancer, we don't have money in the Filipino-American Cancer Care because we give it away. And, we rely on our fundraising efforts or fundraising events, but we will try everything to give it to you, the $1,000. And $1,000 in the Philippines is a lot of money. Right,
Oh, yeah.
Emerich?
Oh, yeah. And the
Oh,
medications, the medicines is so
yes.
expensive.
That's why I'm very grateful for all the models, everyone, in the FACC, our donors, supporters, followers, volunteers, because this is actually a sacrifice. It's
Yeah.
not, we're sacrificing ourselves. Saan ka naman nakakita? Ako na yung founder and president. Bumibili din ako ng ticket. And every time we have an event, we sponsor. Mabuti na lang mayroong akong Barry Zaiman. Oh, yes, that's for him. I'm sorry. That's for him.
Side
So,
conversation.
yes. And Marich, can you talk a little bit about our event and then we're going to
Oh,
introduce our
okay. Yeah, I'm
special
really
guest.
excited. Really excited about it. October 28 po, it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. sa Marriott Hotel Fairview Park in Falls Church, Virginia. Meron po kaming four designers. There will be four designers guest who's going to be showcasing their creations and designs. First, ready na ba kayo dito? Oh my gosh. Carl Andrada, the world-renowned Carl Andrada, who, my gosh, all of the work's been in the beauty pageants and different models that's out there. And then the next one is Jay Layson. Jay Layson,
Mm-hmm.
international celebrity designer as well, and just actually he's doing a lot of fashion shows right now in the New York, actually no London Fashion Week, and then the next one, none other than Edwin Uy. Edwin Uy is gonna be at the show and his creation. If you haven't seen it yet, look at his Facebook page or his Instagram. And then our last designer that's joining us, really, really excited about this too, because it's Kiel Ortega, Los Angeles. So he's going to be showcasing his work and his design. Really excited about that. On the last, I met him last season of New York Fashion Week. He was in town and he did showcase some of his work, and was really excited to know that he's coming in town too. So yun po, beautiful voices that's going to be performing as well. We have a lot of special guests of the show. Our survivors and caregivers
Yes.
and nurses are going to be strutting the runway.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Survivors and
gotta,
warriors.
yes, you gotta support really. And we have a very, very special guest who's directing the show. Besides our model coach, and we have a director, Buboy. Um, what's Buboy's last name again?
Buboy Asuncion from MGI
Asuncion. Buboy
Production.
Asuncion from MGI Production from Seattle. He's coming
Yes.
down in town with his team to help us with our
Mm-hmm.
production for that
And
day.
some of our cancer patient beneficiaries are going to attend this event. One has a terminal cancer, lung cancer, and brain cancer, and the other one has a stage 3 colon cancer. And we're expecting to have, if possible, if we can have 100,000, but I don't know, we're only a new organization. And I guess we need more supporters and donors to be able to give more. And I wish, it works in so many mysterious ways. And I always believe that, the blessings will just come in. Anyway, Emmerich, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
Of course. I'm so honored to introduce our guest tonight as soon as I found his bio once again. Um, so I met him for the first time sometime in February at our fashion show, the uh, Walk for a Cause at the Embassy of the Philippines in New York. It's pleasant meeting you there.
How did you
So
meet him there?
he's one of our guests. He
Yeah, but
attended the show.
you talked to him?
Of course, I talk. I go around, I know how to network.
Okay. And
It
he
was
he
really
was
nice.
not one of the models at the time, right?
No, he was just, standing by on the side, watching, like
Observing.
serving, exactly. So really, really honored to have you in our show. He is a Filipino American and one of the youngest nursing professor in the United States, Dr. Edwin Nico Cabigting. So Dr. Cabigting, PhD, RN, NPDBC. We're gonna talk about those acronyms later on. is an assistant professor in the Foundations in Adult Nursing Practice Department at Adelphi University's College of Nursing and Public Health, or CNPH. So Dr. Edwin earned his Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Certificate in Forensic Health in Adults, Master of Science in Community Health Nursing, Graduate Certificate of Advanced Study in Nursing Education, and Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing from Binghamton University's Decker College of Nursing and Health Sciences. There's a lot of items here that we can talk about, but I think it's better for us to just have a conversation with him
Yes.
and get to know
Am I
him a little bit
rich? When I
more.
grow up, I want to be like him.
Oh my gosh, I want to be like him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Kabigting, Edwin Nico Kabigting. Welcome po.
You. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and I'm excited to have many conversations with all of you.
Doc, to be honest with you, we are looking at each other in this camera.
Correct.
And Rich, he looks to me like a 13 years old.
Oh my God, very young. If you saw, oh my God, I can't believe I saw. So when I met him in person in New York, literally, I was early 20s. That's it. Early 20s. Forever.
Doc,
Oh, that's so
what
kind.
is your secret? Because, you know, in America, everybody is busy. That's why I was telling Johan before, oh my gosh, I have only 24 hours of my
Yes.
life every
New York
day.
it's so busy and it's so vibrant and there's so much to do. But I really love my job. I really love being a professor. And most of all, I love being a nurse.
Did you study being a nurse here in the US or in the Philippines?
I studied in the United States. So I was born in the United States. I was actually born in Bronx, New York. And
Oh, my husband is from the Bronx.
really?
Yes. Barry, where are you from in the Bronx? He graduated from Bronx Science High School.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah. He's Jewish.
Great, great. I graduated, I was around like 6 years old or so, and we moved to Queens, and I grew up in Queens, New York. So my life has always been about New York City. Experiencing, I always tell people like New York City is so great in terms of the food, the culture, here, everything like that. And it's been such a joy and such a journey. So I went to high school here. I went to St. Francis Prep in Fresh Meadows, New York, for my high school.
Is that like a Catholic school?
Yes. So I went to Catholic school all the way until college.
How was it growing up and studying in a Catholic school in America? Because I know they seem to be conservative and strict.
Yes, in some regard, definitely there's some sort of strictness to it and everything.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed my experience in high school all the way up until college and in the university setting.
But originally in the Philippines, you know, your parents, where did they come from?
Oh, yes, that's an excellent question. My mom is actually right now is packing and she's going to the Philippines right now. And where we're from is Arayat, Pampanga. And
oh my gosh.
Yes. So, I forgive, the viewers and everything. My Tagalog is putol-putol, really. But I know a little Kapampangan and, most of the time, of course, I communicate in English and everything. Yeah. My dad, his family is really from also the Pampanga area, but he, grew up in Mindanao. Actually, I think I don't remember what city specifically at this moment. My mom's over here. She's
Can we see your mom? Can we see your mom?
Yeah. Let's introduce. The
Yeah.
mom.
No, I think she's still packing and getting ready at this
Oh
moment.
my
Mommy,
goodness. Just to
Mom,
show the face.
I
Oh my
wanna see you,
goodness.
Mommy.
Sure, okay.
Mommy, do
Hi.
you speak Tagalog,
There she
Mommy? Ay,
is.
ang bata. Oh my gosh. Para kaming magkapatid.
Oh my
Mommy, do you
gosh.
speak
Hello
Tagalog
po.
or Kapampangan? Ay, walang audio. What's that, Mom?
Tagalog.
Kapampangan. Tagalog.
Kapampangan. So are you also a nurse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know, Mommy, we're very proud of your son, huh? At a very young age, he is already a professor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Are you also a professor, Mommy?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No.
The humble nurse.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, thank you
Ano po
po.
yung feeling na mayroon kayong anak na professor and he's very young?
Very proud. Very
Uh-huh.
Very proud.
Is he an only child?
No. I have there are 3 boys. Oh,
Ah.
Ay, 3 boys?
running away.
Oh, they're running away. They're
Oh,
running away.
they're running
They're running
away.
away. They didn't want to. No, they didn't want to
boys.
show their faces because we're gonna ask them to
We
show their
put them
face.
on the spot. Yeah.
That's so
Well,
funny.
thank you so much, Mommy.
All right,
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay.
Nice
Happy
meeting you
trip.
po.
Thank you.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you
So,
so much, Doc.
Dr. Kabigting, are you the youngest?
No, I'm actually the panganay. I'm the eldest.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So we gotta meet the other brothers. Show
Kaya
your
nga eh.
They ran away,
They
already.
right away.
Maybe another time and
How old
everything.
are they? I'm just curious about this.
Oh my goodness. I believe one is around 24 and the
Mhm.
other one is around 27. See, I don't even remember my
Mhm.
brother's age.
And I'm sure they also look young. Kasi sabi nila, yung mga Filipino daw, mga Asians, we look very young.
Oh,
Ako
yeah,
nga eh, pag
absolutely.
nakatalikod,
Ano tinitingnan? Height?
yeah, pero plus 8.
Absolutely.
Ikaw, Emerich.
Oh my gosh. Every show, everywhere I go, 20s, 26. I was
Mhm.
like, really? Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Mhm. How about you, Doc? No,
Yes.
being a professor, I'm sure your students are wondering, Doc, are you
Yes.
really my professor or what? Tell us about your experience.
I'll tell you a little bit about that. So when I used to be at Binghamton University, I used to do something the very first day of class with my students, and I would say, "Oh, what do you think of this class? What do you think it's going to be like?" And everything. They
Oh
don't know.
yeah.
What do you? Oh, I heard the professor's really hard, and everything is what one of the other students would say. And so what I would do is I would wait for all the students to sit down in the lecture hall, and I would sit at the back, and then they would wait for the professor to show up, and then I would walk to the front and I would say, "Hello, everyone. My name is Professor Kibigting, professor for this course." So it's kind of shocked them sometimes.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, that particular student came up to me and said to me, why did you tell me about this professor and everything? And I was like, I wanted to know and get to know you a little bit more. But yes, many of my students do think I am very young. I teach in the undergraduate program, the master's program, and the doctoral program. And in all honesty, I teach a lot of people either around, let's say, in their early 20s, in my mother's age or so, around in their 50s, 60s, and but it makes no difference to me because I still have the same expectation and I expect the same quality standards that all of my students should be able to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's very well said. Because there's a
Yes.
lot of what do you call that? Assumption on the looks and the age, and then also
Yes.
especially here. So was there any time that was there any bullying that happened between you and the students at any point?
No, I think usually most people were very cordial, and I'm very thankful to God for that and everything.
Yeah.
So, I draw a lot of my inspiration from nursing from my mother, honestly.
Yeah.
My mom was really the reason why I became a nurse. My mom works in long-term care and rehabilitation, and what I witnessed from her was her work ethic. I witnessed, her intelligence. And I'll be honest though, like let's talk about the elephant in the room, the
Yeah.
stereotype. Every,
Mhm.
most well, since I was like 5 years old, my parents wanted me to become a nurse,
Yeah.
but I pushed back and I didn't
Did
want
you
to
ask them, Mommy, why would you like me to be a nurse?
because it makes money, because it's a good career, you know.
See, for sure, they've been asked. I think
Yes.
everybody was asking that, or no, or telling them, hey, you should be a doctor, a nurse.
Be a
Uh,
doctor. You should be a nurse. You should be an engineer.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't though until what I did was one summer I went to California and I hung out with a bunch of different nurses, and I realized like this. I was like, I love talking to people. I,
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved science. I've always been interested in learning about others. Why can't this be the profession for me? How my journey in nursing really began. But my mother and is has been so integral to my life.
Wow, I'm impressed.
That's
That's
amazing.
good because your mom was your motivator and also she was there to mold you to become a nurse. And again, as I always said, I'm very proud of Filipinos working as a nurse, working as a caregiver, whatever it is, there is always dignity in every labor. But
Absolutely.
having your mom to be there for you, but now anyway, I'd like to ask you this.
Sure.
I learned that you were only 29 years old when became a professor. How
Yeah.
did you get that job?
How did I get the job? Okay. So I want to say, I want to begin by saying first that I have been teaching nursing for about 9 years or so. So when I finished my bachelor's degree, immediately while working as a registered professional nurse in various different settings, from medical, surgical, ER, geriatrics, different types of units, I
Mhm.
also went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I wanted to become a nurse practitioner, but I realized that wasn't what vision I really that really melded with my values and my ideas. So many people have been talking about that I would be good as a teacher, I would be good as a researcher. So what I did was, all while I was studying for my master's, is that I studied, and I went. Sorry, what am I trying to say? I studied and then I also worked at the same time. I did
Mhm.
my master's and I also
Yeah.
worked at the same time, and I also became an adjunct at
Wow.
Binghamton University. So I started doing some teaching training. My course is focused on curriculum development and learning how to teach students, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I expected to fall in love with, but I just immediately just fell in love with it. I wanted, and that's what I believe is my contribution to nursing. My contribution to my discipline in nursing is through my research and through my teaching. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that's life sustaining, really, because it's going to pass. It's something like you're passing on what you know to others, and I think that's like the greatest thing possible. So then I graduated. Yes. So Ati Josie, yes, I graduated around 29 years old. I had this thing that I always remembered that I wanted to do, doctorate, before I turned 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I defended my dissertation, I believe, in July of 2019. And then in August of 2019, I was conferred a degree, and immediately I also had to teach at Adelphi. And that first semester, I was thrown right into it. I'm a tenure track professor. So being a tenure track professor means you have to teach, you have to do research, and then you
Mhm.
also have to do service for your university, and and that's what I'm doing to this day. I think I'm about like 4 years right now at Adelphi University, and I'm enjoying every minute of it so I work with, and I work with many different levels of students. Some students who may struggle at first. I work with very high achieving students. So it's really great that I can do that working with all of these students. And actually have a lot of students who are Filipino.
Mm.
So I recently, because I'm looking out for our future, Philippine Nurses Association of New York had a scholarship, and I recommended some of my students for that scholarship program.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, how would you describe, your profession um, as professor? What is your style when it comes to teaching
What
younger generation?
Well, what I believe is my style comes from my theoretical background. And my theoretical background is Parsi's human becoming paradigm. In a nutshell, though, it's focused on human dignity. So I believe that learning and teaching are one and the same, right? As much as I can teach my students something, my students can teach me something.
That's right.
It's not just the model where I am
It's
standing.
not one-way traffic.
Exactly. It's not one-way traffic. So I may be standing in front of the lecture hall, but I value every opinion or every thought that my students have. And
Yeah.
I tell my students, like even my students right now who are in fundamentals of nursing, who they're just beginning to take their nursing classes right now. So it's like the ABCs of nursing care. And I tell them it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes in my classroom because I don't want you to make mistakes on a patient. I don't want you to make mistakes on a living human being.
That's right. That's
You know,
very
it's
good.
it's crazy. Like I'm watching you and listening to you while you're
Mhm.
speaking.
I feel
I
like
feel like I'm
am
sitting
one
in
of
the
his
lecture room.
students. We're in the classroom. So how do they
We're in
call
the
you? Do they
class.
call you by first name? Because in the Philippines, they call you sir, mom, or miss.
So the first day, so I think it's very important the first day of class that you establish how you want to be called. So at
Okay, it's
my
very important.
university, we
Mhm.
use so because I have a doctorate, so I asked my students to call me Dr. Kabigting.
That's
But many
right.
people will say to me, well, I can't pronounce that. So I'll say, okay, Dr. K, Professor. Most of the time, my students call me either Professor Kabigting or Dr. Kabigting.
Mhm. And you
Okay.
deserve that title because you work so hard, you studied, and I think with all these achievements in life, I should
Absolutely.
call you doctor. Now, um, you know, again, let's talk about this profession as a nurse. And by the way, to tell you the truth, in the FACC, we are very grateful, for our volunteers and everybody else. But I am so grateful with the support of the Philippine Nurses Association in America, New York, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and all over the United States and even in the Philippines. And you know what, Emerich? Sometimes I'm saying that I think there is going to be another PNA organization in the Filipino American Cancer Care because we have so many nurses in the
We do. We do.
FACC.
And it's
And
just, it's just the right so because it's a cancer care
yes,
organization, right?
and you can tell that these nurses, they really
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
about, others because I think like a public service for them. What are your thoughts about this, Doc?
What are my thoughts in terms of I think
You
it's
know,
such an amazing organization, first of all, Ate Josie, that you have Filipino American Cancer Care. And I'm so happy that I got connected with FACC through PNA New York. And, I credit, Larnie Florencio,
mhm.
Marie Bedona, who I met actually. It's very interesting where you meet people.
Yeah.
I met them both at a international nursing conference. We have a nursing honor society called Sigma Theta Tau International, and I met them in Edinburgh, Scotland. And it was my first time in Scotland, and I was just standing in the lobby, similar to how Emrich and I met in some way. And Larnie Florencio came up to me and said, "Hey, you're Filipino." And then we gathered all the Filipinos that day, and we went to Jollibee, and,
Oh my
and
God.
before our keynote, and the rest is history. I became an active member of the Philippine Nurses Association of New York,
Mhm.
and I really think it's so important that we give back to our country, our home country, and we help out our fellow Filipinos. We help out every I'm struck by the fact that I'm having this interview today because a dear friend of mine and colleague, his partner passed away today from cancer.
Mm.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
just I just think of the juxtaposition of that, and it's
Uh,
so interesting that I'm talking today about Filipino American cancer care.
After our interview, can you please give me the name and the picture of that person? We will give
Sure,
a tribute. We will include them in the tribute during our fashion show in October. We're gonna put them in a slideshow.
sure, I'd be happy to. That'd be great. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, so tell us something about before we again talk about your experience, dealing with cancer patients and everything else. What was it like for you the first time you saw our fashion show in Manhattan in New York City last February?
I wanted to be a part of it actually. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the first time, and I think I met you at the Josie, and you were like, Are you one of the models?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm one of the guests and everything." And so I sat there and I saw the tributes. I saw the astounded really, and it was cancer is not like the most everyone's favorite topic in the world, but you make it so you I think the organization does it with such respect, such dignity, and in a way as much passion, and in a way that even though it's such a dark topic, it's still something that's so it was still magical and something I was just really touched by what I saw
Yeah.
that
You know,
day.
one thing that we always trying to communicate to everybody that there's always hope.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that's why we're asking our survivors or our caregivers to talk about their journey and different aspect of what they've gone through because there's always hope at the other end. We don't want them to feel alone. And I'm so sorry about your friend's partner for passing today. Found out that there's a couple of my friends that's going through and coworkers that's going through chemo and all that, and I didn't expect it. That it's so close.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Um,
Yeah,
very
it's really disheartening sometimes, and it's also overwhelming to find out that some of your loved ones are, having this disease, right?
yeah.
But anyway, let's go back again to your career as a nurse. Were you able to work before in a hospital setting?
absolutely yes.
Oh,
Like I said, while I was in graduate school, I worked in a different variety of settings from post-acute care to telemetry.
mm,
There was one day that I was floated actually to an oncology unit, and I remember what you have to understand about oncology and nursing care is that it's so specialized
yeah.
that I felt I was honestly doing a disservice if I did not have the training and the background for it. So, but at that so we had to all help out and do what we could. But yes, my training is as a nurse is in medical surgical, ER, telemetry, and I really have a passion for the geriatric population, and
Hmm.
pediatrics is not exactly my specialty, but it's something that's so important and everything for our.
Oncology.
Oh no, that was just sometimes as nurses we have to float, and we have to
Mm-hmm.
move
Yeah.
to like different units and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So it was maybe like maybe like once a month or so. Sometimes we'd have to do that. But like for example, like my specialty really is in telemetry, and telemetry is cardiac. So, but it doesn't. But cancer does not discriminate. I have to say
Mm-hmm.
that cancer definitely does not discriminate. You could be there for a cardiac issue or a heart issue, and at the same time you could be cancer. So we learn, all of us in nursing, we learn about cancer and we learn about how we can care for patients. But my bigger thing is not even the medical aspect of it. It's about how we are with our patients. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the bulk of my research. It's really about how we are with individuals, how we are with our patients and the individuals that we care for.
Mm-hmm. You remember, Emerich, we also have we had a cancer patient beneficiary before from Georgia.
Yeah.
She came into the United States, okay, as a nurse and work in Georgia because it's easy to become a nurse if you go to Georgia. I hope you know that. So what happened is that she was diagnosed with stomach cancer 2 months that she, when she arrived here in the US. And she went through a lot of process. And, when you came from the Philippines and you're starting to build your life here in the United States, you have to go through a lot of things, right? So what happened is that Doc, she found FACC on Facebook when we were having that bingo. And Average, at the last moment of her life, we still have that video. If you're going to Google it, Doc, or you're going to search it, you will see it. I even interviewed her the day before she passed away. And again, this is something that we would like everyone to know, that what we're doing, even you as a nurse doc, right? And as a professor, we're not doing this for recognition, for, for being popular or being famous, for not doing it for ourselves. We are doing this for others, right? And actually, we could have, we could enjoy our lives. In the Philippine American Cancer Care, we're not even paid.
It's a volunteer. Yeah.
Yes, it's all volunteer. But going back to Dr. Kabigting, Emerich, if I'm going to nominate someone right now, Dr. Kabigting is going to be one. And I guess we're going to do that because, we have been approved for the Presidential Service Award. And we're going to have that probably next year. Basta okay na yung natin, yung ating mga events na hindi na masyadong marami. Okay? And Doc, I hope, if you want to volunteer, be part of FACC, you're very much welcome. I don't know if you are also aside from PNA, if you're also active with other non-profit organizations.
PNA, most of the time. I mean, but I have a lot more of academic organizations.
Yeah.
As Sigma Theta Tau International. I guess that's an example of one of the nonprofits. I'm the webmaster and chapter delegate for Sigma Theta Tau International, and many different nursing organizations. And I sit on many different leadership positions within my college and within our profession itself.
Emerich,
That's
Dr. Kabigting, he never stops learning.
Never stops assisting, helping, everything. No, that's great that you're doing that. So, is it the organization within your school or university? Is it mix of professor and students?
Oh, so okay. So we're talking about within the university setting.
Yeah.
Then those are more like committees, and that's probably talking about in terms of the service component of my profession. And we do, of course, value what our students say. So we do have some students on some of the chair of the research council. And one of the things that I really advocated for at one point or another was that we had a student member, because it's really important that we have voices of our students involved when it comes to their learning.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
By the way, I'm curious because I was reading your bio about something around that you are doing for the HIV and AIDS patients.
So that's a great question. I used to be a research consultant for an HIV/AIDS center, and
Wow.
that was during my towards the end of my master's degree. And
Mm-hmm.
what I was interested actually at that point was looking at the knowledge and attitudes of primary care providers in rural upstate New York when it came to pre-exposure prophylaxis and HIV/AIDS prevention. And then my dissertation, the people that I had a dialogue with about the phenomenon of feeling overwhelmed, and I chose the phenomenon of feeling overwhelmed as my dissertation um, topic, really, because I noted that when I was at that research center with the HIV/AIDS patients, and
Mm-hmm.
this also can still apply to cancer patients. They were very overwhelmed with their care. They were very overwhelmed with the medications that they were
Yeah.
being given. They were very overwhelmed with the information. So that's what I chose to focus my dissertation on.
Mhm. Known nurse, a theorist, Dr. Rosemary Rizzo Parsi.
Yes.
And, you are a Parsi scholar and uses the human becoming paradigm in his scholarship and educational work. And you are a respected scholar in national and international arenas where you focus on the investigation of universal living experience and unique nursing knowledge guided by Parsi's human becoming paradigm. Can you explain it to us in
Sure.
layman's term?
I would love to explain that to you. So, first of all, what is a universal human universe living experience? A universal human universe living experience is something that is lived by all people. So, for example, we could ask a child, what is it like for them to feel overwhelmed? We could ask a cancer patient, what is it like for them to feel overwhelmed? We could ask someone who is 90 years old, what is it like for them to feel overwhelmed? And that's what that experience really is about. As far as the knowledge, I'm very interested in knowledge development within our discipline. I'm very interested in using, unique nursing theories and ideas to understand humankind and humanity. And that's something that I treasure dearly. So my background really is as a qualitative researcher. So,
Mhm.
I was teaching actually a doctoral class this morning, and we were talking about the differences between qualitative and quantitative research.
Yes. We
Qualitative
studied
is
also something like that in the MBA,
yes,
quantitative
yes,
analysis.
yes. So I'm really focused on qualitative, which is about living experiences and human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my research and the dialogues that I do with individuals for my research has to do with people's lives. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm not just interested in defining someone by a number on a scale of 1 to
Mm-hmm.
10.
That's
And you
right.
told me it's a 5. But what does that 5 mean? What exactly does that 5 mean? Versus if I trust that you know what feeling overwhelmed is like, and you know that, then I can ask you, what is it like for you to feel overwhelmed? What is it like for you to feel betrayed? And those are just some of the
Mm-hmm.
different examples of.
Doc, can I ask you,
Yes, please.
what is it like for you to feel overwhelmed?
What is it like for me? Oh, that's an excellent question. What is it like for me to feel overwhelmed? It feels like I'm drowning. It feels like the world is coming apart. It feels like it's painful. It's shattering. Those are some of the ideas that come to mind when I think of feeling overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. And what
How
else,
about you,
Doc?
Ate Josie?
Ah, I feel like, the heaven and the earth. It's a lot. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's not
I
easy. It's a challenge to
yeah,
feel overwhelmed.
Yes.
I
Yes.
froze. I freezes. Like
Mm-hmm.
So
I yeah, I loses everything. Like I'm just kind of what the heck?
Well, sometimes when you're in a stressful situation, I don't
Yeah.
know if feeling overwhelmed is a positive or a negative, right?
It can be a positive and it can be a negative. So, Emrit,
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about the fact that you feel like you freeze.
Yeah.
So, the participants in my study, they said that they felt paralyzed. So, that's one of the
Uh-huh.
themes that came out. So, it's very
Yeah.
interesting that you brought that up. And Ati Josie, you were talking about whether feeling
It's like,
overwhelmed, is a positive.
you're carrying a heavy weight
Yes. It's like
and you have
carrying
to
a
release
cross.
it and you have to fight for it, right? And I think you need to have grace when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely. I think in all of the studies, so in all of the research that I have done so far on feeling overwhelmed, and this is one of the topics that I focus on, there is that I call it in my study a reach for relief.
Yeah.
In the experience of feeling overwhelmed, there is something that we are always trying to get out of it. We are and maybe there's something that we can learn from that experience as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And even cancer patients, survivors,
Yeah.
they always
Caregivers.
feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Emmerich, we have 10 minutes with Dr. Kabigting, and I told him that I'm going to interview him again. Doc, my next question is, you have all these titles. You have great achievements in life. What else would you like to achieve? And do you still have any hopes and dreams?
I think I still have lots of hopes and dreams. So, um, sometimes I really think, many. So I am the youngest faculty member in my College of Nursing, um, and sometimes I don't even feel like that because
Mhm.
I sometimes I think of my achievements as not something to be honored. Really, I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
it's just what I do. But we
Yeah.
get so lost in this mentality, right? So I think it's important for us to reflect and think about what we do. Like, so for example, I'll give an example. Over the summer, I presented at 11 national and international conferences. I didn't or national. I had 11, sorry, presentations. I didn't even realize that because I was also having fun. I was
Mhm.
traveling. I love to travel. So if you're asking what I hope to do, I want to travel. I focused so much on my career over the years. I really like to focus on my personal life, and something that nurses need to understand and everyone needs to understand is self-care. We have
Mm-hmm.
to take care of ourselves, especially, Emrich, you were talking about caregivers. So in my older adult class, we were talking about caregivers and my older adult class about the need that encourage um, caregivers and say it's okay. It's okay for you to be overwhelmed at this moment. It's okay to not be okay, is what I'm trying to say. And what I hope, and I feel like I still have a long career ahead of me. And what I hope is that, I will pass on something great that someone one day will think, that they can use within the discipline of nursing, and something that can help improve, their lives in some way. So that's a little bit of my hopes and dreams. And I'd like to focus on myself. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something I'm thinking about.
Would you like to write a book?
So, I write many journal articles at this point, but yes, I would love to write a just personal book, about my journey, about my ideas. But I think, there's still some blank pages left, so I don't think right now I can start writing. I'm very overwhelmed, as I've said, and it's something for me to think about. I do want to say, though, that one of my secret passions at this moment right now is to learn French.
Oh
And
yeah.
so what I do and I tell my students is, while you are learning about nursing from me, at the same time, I am also being a student and I enrolled in some online French classes. So
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I always want to keep my brain
I
busy.
will introduce you to my nephew. He is going to be one of the models. My
Sure.
nephew Vincent, who's 13 years old from Montreal, Canada.
Oh, wow.
He speaks French.
I wish I was better at speaking French, but it's
Mhm.
something that I'm going to try to keep getting better at.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Mhm. Then maybe you should spend more time in France or
French
Montreal.
speaking countries or
Mhm.
Yes,
cities.
yes, absolutely. And
I guess that's the idea. How did that came up to you that you want to study French?
so when I was in high school, my parents actually didn't let me study French because they did not feel that it was a language that was useful in the United States. They were like, "Oh, you should study
Oh,
Spanish." So I studied
oh,
11
Mhm.
years of Spanish, and what did that get me, really? I can say hola, I can say cómo estás, I can say basic things.
yeah.
Versus, I really was driven by the. I wanted to really study French, so in college I took 3 semesters of from beginner one, beginner two to intermediate French,
French.
and then I just love the language. The
Mhm.
pronunciation is so difficult, but it's something
Yeah.
that I'm working on.
Merci.
Mhm.
Merci, monsieur.
You know, my husband told me when he was studying in high school at the Bronx Science, they have to learn French. And he
Yes.
failed in that French subject. And the parents, they have to put him in they have to hypnotize him.
To learn French. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
it's a language that's very hard to learn, but it sounds
Yeah.
great. Whenever I hear my niece, my nephews talking in French, now I have a granddaughter. I feel like, I don't know anything about what you're saying.
In college, I partially studied French
Here in the
because
US, Emirates.
I'm in the tourism and transportation management.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an elective, but I couldn't last. Oh, until yeah, I couldn't. And then when I went to France, 3 years ago, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I could have just used those anyways. You know.
Mm-hmm. And Doc, we are very excited to see you again here in Virginia. Do you always come here in DC?
Um, well, ordinarily no, but for
Yeah.
this some reason this semester or this fall, I have many conferences in the DC area. I'm attending, the National League for Nursing,
Wow.
American Academy of Nursing, the our FACC event.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to help me with walking because I'm not sure
I got you. I
to
got you.
on that. But I'm honestly, I was so excited even when I was there to meet with Carl Andrada. And now I might be modeling something of his. Like that's just astounding to me, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's
And
perfect.
we are very excited to see you as well. And alam mo, Emerich, ang daming nagsasabi sa akin na mga bisita natin sa October, kung pwede daw akong gumawa. Alam mo yung doodle fight, the crabs that I
Oh my
always...
gosh.
Doc, do you like to eat seafoods?
I do. I love seafood. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I have this boodle fight, but I use crabs.
Ooh.
I do
Yeah.
that with all the crabs on the table. I don't know if I still have time. I really would love to, me, I'd like to entertain everybody. And I like
Yeah.
everyone around me to be happy.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
anyway, we have 2 minutes left. Lastly, Doc, your message to everyone. And again, I'm going to interview you next week and another show. And, anytime that you would like to support us or volunteer for us, you are very much welcome. And of course, we would like to tell you that we are very proud of you.
We are.
Diba, Emerich? Filipino
Yes.
yan, ha? Diba?
Absolutely. We are.
Filipino-American. Tignan mo si Doc. Ang sarap niyang, ang parang baby. Emerich, you have to take care of Dr. Kabigting when
I
he
know,
comes
yeah.
here. Are you going to be by yourself, Doc, or do you have any friends that are going to attend also?
February is coming. I
Oh,
believe.
Femery, yeah.
Okay.
And you know, we invited Femery's niece
Oh, good.
from the Philippines, and she was able to get a visa because she's a cancer survivor. She's going to be our inspirational speaker on October 28th.
My goodness, I'm looking forward to hearing that. I am. But really, thank you so much for having me. I hope I was able to provide some sort of insight and some idea into my life. And I think the word that comes to mind as we close today is hope. I think Emrich mentioned that word many times. I think that's what I hope for when it comes to cancer care. I hope for a better tomorrow, and hopefully the things that I do for as an educator, as a nurse, as an individual, and everything that all of you do make a difference in the lives of the patients that we touch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Dr. Edwin Nico Kabigting from New Jersey.
New
He's
York.
New York.
New York, we
Jersey.
keep on, you see?
Yes, he's one of our models for the FACC Runway for a Cure on October 28th in Marriott Fairview, Falls Church, Virginia. Emmerich, we have, I think, 30 seconds
30
left.
seconds. No, thank you so much, Doc, for coming. Looking forward to see you again in person in a few weeks. And also for everybody, magandang umaga po ulit sa inyong lahat. And good evening to everybody here.
Yes. Thank you so much for being with us on our radio show On the Air with FACC, Filipino American Cancer Care on PHLV Radio.
Radio.
Bye. Thank you, Johan.
Bye, Kuya. Bye, everyone.